the Canadian ginger from the hit indie title, Celeste. Madeline is a normal girl who, like many people, is troubled by her mental illnesses and has been for most of her life, leading to hindrances that she grew to resent. She got to a point where she was so upset with herself that she chose to take a trip to the mysterious Celeste Mountain with one desire: to prove to everyone, mostly herself, that she can go through with something if she puts her mind to it. So the goal she set for herself to accomplish was to climb Celeste Mountain and reach its summit. However, it wasn't long after she arrived when she realized that she bit off way more than she could chew. Celeste Mountain is enchanted, being home to many strange phenomena and unexplainable occurrences. The mountain shows its visitors things that they may not want to see, and for Madeline, it did so very literally. It gave a body to the part of herself that had held her back and tormented her all her life, the side of her which would come to be known as Badeline. Between the treacherous landscape and Badeline trying to discourage and sabotage Madeline at every turn, climbing Celeste Mountain proved to be the hardest thing Madeline has ever done. And not just physically, but very much psychologically as well. But by being forced to confront the things that she was trying to run away from all her life, she learned to accept who she was and to turn what she hated into something that would make her stronger. She finally was able to talk with Badeline, and once they made up, they worked together to accomplish far more than they can do alone, and with their combined powers, they managed to reach the summit. Not only did Madeline accomplish her goal that day, she also grew as a person, forever changed by the mysterious powers of the enchanted Celeste Mountain. But today, she has another obstacle to conquer. Will she be able to hold her own in the world of Super Smash Bros.? Well, let's see. So let's get right into things. Madeline would be a pretty lightweight character. She'd have 2 jumps, and just like she does when she climbed the mountain, she'd be able to both wall jump and wall cling. In order for her to stand up to the many powerful opponents that she'd be facing, Madeline will need to draw from the powers of Celeste Mountain itself. And on top of that, she will not be fighting alone. Madeline will also be aided by her other self, Badeline. Just like at the end of the game, the two of them need to work together, as doing so is what makes them not only complete as a person, but as I said before, much stronger than they could ever be alone. Ironically though, despite them literally climbing an icy mountain, this isn't an ice climber situation. Badeline will be dormant within Madeline, and will only appear for certain attacks to help Madeline out. Ooh, now I kinda wonder what it'd be like for Popo and Nana if they tried climbing Celeste Mountain. That's a topic for another time. For now, getting into Madeline's jabs, she'll have a 3-hit jab that starts with Madeline doing a straight punch, then follows up with a horizontal hook punch from her other arm. Then with the arm she just punched with, she pulls off her backpack and swings it forwards at a slight spinning diagonal angle for her final jab, after which she quickly puts it back on. For her dash attack, she uses her main ability which was vital to her trek up Celeste Mountain, the dash, a power which I assume she got from the mountain itself that allows her to dash into any direction, especially in the air. For the dash attack, she dashes a fair distance forwards with a flying kick. It comes out pretty fast and hits decently hard, but it does have a bit of end lag. For her side tilt, pulling from the game Towerfall, another title made by the same folks who made Celeste, Madeline can utilize her new hobby in archery and shoot an arrow straight forwards. In fact, she picked up archery so she could participate in Towerfall. She and Badeline both appear in that game as playable characters. The attack will have Madeline fire an arrow projectile forwards. It's affected by gravity, flies a decent distance, only deals small flinching damage, and the arrow hitting anything will make it quickly disappear. However, if foes are shot point blank right when Madeline fires an arrow from her bow, then foes will be launched pretty far and take much more damage. It also has a kinda slow rate of fire, so it's not a very spammable attack. Now for the up tilt, she'll play a game of arrow roulette and fire an arrow straight up into the air. After reaching its peak height, it will start to fall, though don't worry, unless it's reflected, it won't hurt Madeline, so you don't have to worry about it landing on her. Like for the side tilt, the arrow by itself deals small flinching damage, but being hit point blank when she fires it deals much more damage and launches foes upwards. That said, the arrow is slightly weaker when falling compared to when it's rising. Madeline's down tilt can have her swing her backpack across the ground, a move with good disjoint, and it can pop foes into the air. For her smash attacks, these will be the first where Madeline draws upon the power of the other part of herself, Badeline. For the side smash, Badeline appears above Madeline and makes use of one of the powerful attacks that she tried to use against Madeline, a deadly beam. She fires the beam into the ground in front of Madeline. Any foe hit by the beam won't be too happy afterwards, but this move does have kind of an awkward hitbox. Because of how Badeline fires the beam, it might end up flying right over smaller foes who are too close to Madeline. So for those guys, a bit more precision might be required, but the large-bodied fighters will just have a bad time overall. Also, even if you use this move off of a ledge, the beam will still stop once it reaches the same horizontal axis as Madeline's feet. The beam is also near instantaneous, so it can be easily dodged, and it does have a small amount of start lag. For their up smash, I call this attack the Bad Hair Day. While not seen too often, Badeline does seem to have some kind of control over her hair, and there are multiple times where we see her flare her hair out. So to kind of reference that, as well as to the dark tendrils that Badeline can emit, Badeline will flare her hair out and stab it into multiple directions upwards. Madeline will duck during this, but this move will still have a hard time hitting foes horizontally. And for the down smash, Badeline can make use of her ability to make copies of herself, create a single duplicate, then the two of them will spin around Madeline a few times while low to the ground. Despite spinning multiple times, this move will launch foes on contact, and it actually knocks foes into higher angles. I should also mention at this point, despite being separated by the mountain, Madeline and Badeline are still the same person, and there seem to be hints that suggest that they share pain. So as such, Badeline appearing will also extend Madeline's hurt box, so if Badeline is hit, that will deal damage overall. For the neutral aerial, Badeline will appear, the two will join hands, then they'll spin in a clock motion twice. During this spin, Madeline's backpack will extend outwards while Badeline's hair also extends in a mirroring way. Foes who get hit by either the backpack or the hair will be launched on contact. But for Madeline's 4 cardinal aerials, these will be some unconventional aerials much more unique to Madeline. She'll be using her air dash move. Forward, back, up, and down. No matter which way you point, they'll have Madeline dash into that appropriate direction, flying a fair distance with a quick burst that'll knock any foe out of the way, launching them into a slightly upward angle into the direction that the dash was going. That is aside from the down air version of the dash. That can spike foes if they're hit by it at the beginning of the move. These dashing aerials can also be angled, being able to go into diagonal directions, allowing for even more possible aerial versatility. Just like in Celeste, these dashes could allow for all kinds of recovery options in aerial mix-ups, though also just like in Celeste, you can't exactly spam them while airborne. Since Badeline is one with Madeline for this moveset, she's able to do up to 2 air dashes at a time, after which Madeline's hair will turn blue and you won't be able to do any more air dashes until she touches the stage and changes her hair back to normal. This only applies to the 4 cardinal aerials though. She can use the neutral air as much as she wants. You're also not forced into using both air dashes in a row. You can use one, then do something else, then use the other one if you'd like. Overall, Madeline is a queen of the air, with movements and options that most anyone can only wish to have. Madeline would grab with one arm, and the pummel would have Badeline appear to punch the foe in the face. The forward throw can simply have her pick the foe up, then toss them forwards, just like she can do when carrying her friend Theo when he was trapped in Crystal. The back throw can have her pick the foe up as if she were about to throw them forwards, but then Badeline appears and kicks them out of her hand, sending them backwards. The up throw can have Badeline appear behind the foe, grab them, then chuck them into the air. And the down throw can have Badeline appear above the foe and elbow drop them, dealing damage and bouncing them away. For Madeline's neutral special, Badeline will appear and rain terror on foes by shooting at them with her Badeline shot attack. This is a fairly basic projectile attack. It's shot from above Madeline's position and can be fired into any direction. It is a rather dreadful move for their opponents, since it is pretty slow moving and it lasts a little longer than most projectile attacks before it automatically disappears, though it will vanish sooner if it collides with anything. Foes who are hit by it will be popped into the air and be dealt a small amount of damage. Only 3 of these shots can be fired at a time. Trying to fire any more than that will result in nothing happening until one of the first shots disappears. For Madeline's side special, she can draw from the power of the Golden Feather. Madeline turns into a ball of light and automatically charges straight forwards. You can angle Madeline to have her fly into any direction as she automatically flies, and it stops after 2 seconds. Any foe in Madeline's way will be dealt a decent amount of damage and be popped into the air, and while it won't put Madeline into free fall, it can only be used once while in the air, so Madeline has to touch the stage before it can be used again. For her up special, she's once again given much needed help from her other self to perform the Badeline Boost. This is a pretty simple special where Badeline throws Madeline pretty high into the air. Madeline's body will act as a weak hitbox as she ascends, but this special very much is much more reliable as a recovery move. And like with the Gold Feather, the Badeline Boost won't put Madeline in the free fall, but she has to touch the stage before it can be used again. And finally, for Madeline's down special, she can give herself a little personal space and use the power of the blue bubbles. Upon activation, a bubble appears around Madeline, then automatically shoots her forwards. You can hold the control stick into any direction to have the bubble shoot Madeline into those directions as well. Foes hit by the bubble take moderate damage and are launched away, whereas getting hit by Madeline herself after she's shot from the bubble is a tad weaker. On top of that, the bubble itself will reflect all projectiles, so if you can time it correctly, Madeline can very easily close in on projectile users quite safely. So in summary, Madeline's options obviously means that she won't be losing stocks from just falling off the stage anytime soon, so opponents will more often than not need to take advantage of how frail she is in order to KO her at all. Of course, with the amount of movement and mix-up options that Madeline has, good luck catching her. For Madeline and Badeline's final smash! It can be a cinematic final smash that starts with Badeline charging forwards, and any foe in her way will be pulled in. The cinematic then plays out with the foes in the air after Badeline charged into them. Madeline then comes in from below and charges at the foes, sending them even higher, then Badeline comes in and does the same, sending them even higher than that. The two continue to quickly alternate, racking up damage and launching the foes higher and higher. It then ends with both Mad and Bad charging at the foes at the same time to deal the final blow. Then the two land atop the summit of Celeste Mountain and watch the view of the horizon as the foes fly off in the distance. After which the cinematic concludes and all caught foes are launched upwards. For their colors, the default shows Madeline in her winter clothing and ginger hair, and Badeline in her usual purple colors. The first alt can show Madeline with pink hair, which is the color that it takes on whenever she combines with Badeline. So I realize her having red hair as default isn't quite consistent, but that is her natural color. Badeline for this alt will be slightly lighter in color, closer to the pink. The next alt can show Madeline with brown hair, a green vest, and blue pants, the colors of her friend that she met on the mountain, the selfie-loving Theo. Badeline for this will have a slightly green tint. Then there's white hair, a pale green vest, and brown pants, in reference to the old lady that lives in the mountain. Badeline for this will have more desaturated colors. Here's black hair, a bright lime vest, and black pants, referencing Mr. Oshiro, the ghostly hotel manager. Badeline will have a lighter desaturated color here. Here's navy blue hair with a yellow vest, referencing the little bird. Badeline will have a bluer tint. Then we have blonde hair and a red vest, referencing her father. Badeline will have a more yellow tint. And finally, here's a palette swap, giving Madeline Badeline's colors and vice versa. And before anyone asks why I didn't include a color referencing Madeline's mother, who, unlike her father, actually did make a small appearance in the game, it's because her hair color is that same light blue that Madeline's becomes after using both air dashes. And I don't want things to be too confusing across all the alts. I'd rather have her hair always become that same light blue to let players know when they're out of air dashes. And if we have a color that matches when she's out of air dashes, then that might lead to a few accidental self-destructs. For the stage intro, both Madeline and Badeline gently float down on a gust of wind, and Badeline immediately retreats into Madeline's body. This is a vague reference to the wind that carries the feather, the same one that Theo taught Madeline to imagine whenever she has a panic attack. For taunts, the first can show Madeline take some deep breaths to calm herself down, which more directly references the feather trick. The second can show Mad and Bad separate, spin together while floating, then remerge, referencing whenever the two of them talked to one another as they rose up Celeste Mountain. And the final can show a strawberry with wings appear above Madeline, but before she can grab it, Badeline appears and chomps it out of the air. Then she giggles and retreats while Madeline looks frustrated. And finally, for their victory animations, the first can show Madeline sleeping by a fire with the bird on her head, and Badeline just floating nearby, referencing the end of Chapter 1 when Madeline first started her mountain climb. The second can just show Madeline sitting on the ground as 3 Badeline all playfully spin around her, referencing what they do during the credits of the game on their way down the mountain. And the final can start with Madeline's back to the camera, but then she turns and presents a strawberry pie, with Badeline appearing to ogle it, referencing the ending epilogue when she bakes a pie for everyone using the strawberries that she collected during her adventure. And that does it for What If Madeline Was in Smash! Celeste is a story about self-reflection. Every single one of us has a Badeline of our own. Fear, anxiety, doubt, all of these things that can hold us back from being able to move forward. But it's up to you on how to respond to these feelings. By trying to ignore them or leave them behind, all they do is fester, leading to a negative impact on yourself and even those around you. It's not a pretty side of you, but it's still you, and it's going to be there your whole life, and that's something that you'll need to learn to accept. They aren't going anywhere, so by choosing to work with yourself as opposed to against yourself, then you'll learn how to cope with your problems, and it'll become much easier to work through them. You'll find a newfound and whole strength that'll let you accomplish so much more than you ever could from trying to leave that part of you behind. It won't happen overnight. It will take time and it will be hard work. But if you're willing to put in the effort, then you too will one day be able to reach the summit of your own mountain. In which case, if you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the show and help me be able to make more content for you guys, you can click the join button either below the video or my main page to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my private Discord as well as channel emotes. You can guarantee that your name appears in my videos, or even get the option of knowing what if character is coming up next a week in advance. I really appreciate anything that can be contributed. And of course, if you have a character that you want to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below or contact me on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to stay safe out there everyone. You'll get through it, I promise.